Good afternoon.
Team news first of all. Lockhart's back from his ban. Prokler's still banned because your appeal was unsuccessful. Any other team issues?
No, apart from that, obviously with the two, one in and one out. Apart from that, no other injuries. No, we're in good shape at the moment.
Any quibbles about the proper appeal being turned over?
No, we certainly wouldn't have appealed if we didn't feel that we had a chance, and our opinion is still exactly the same, that we will see numerous challenges like that every Saturday or midweek that doesn't see a red card. So that was our strength that we felt, and our reasoning for the appeal, but we weren't successful, and what we have to do is move on now.
You've got the option of pairing now Kyle and Stevens as a pair, I think for the first time in the Premier League, for a match this big. How realistic are the chances there?
Well, we've still got options, and that's what we've done and what we've looked for all season. I mean, Steve Sidwell is the only one, perhaps, that would have been in contention for that midfield places. But of course, we have the options of playing a 2 in there or a 3. But these things happen, and Dale Stephens was out for a very short period of time. You have to get on with it, and as somebody goes out, we've already spoke. Knockhart's back in the squad, which is another plus for us, and we certainly have to make the best of what we have.
It's a massive match and it's a derby. Is it must not lose?
It would be certainly a nice one not to lose. It's very difficult at this stage to speak about sort of 6-pointers, because they are all very big games. We've come through 2 home games, and the Leicester game and the Huddersfield game were equally as important as each other, and until we are in a position that we could see ourselves safe in this division, whatever that next game is becomes the biggest game. But I'm very conscious of what this game means also to the club and to the supporters of both clubs, and of course that gives it an added emphasis on a result.
The pressure is certainly on though, and if Southampton were to beat Chelsea before you play, Palace would start the match in the bottom 3 and you'd be just 4 points clear. That would really up the ante, wouldn't it?
Yes, but it's for whatever league position we're in, and for whether we end up, or whatever it puts us at any stage, that's the challenges that you have. There are a group of teams below us at this moment, and their challenge is to get as many points as they can. Certainly I would still rather, even with the games that we have, and we have difficult games, I'd rather be in a position where we have a certain amount of points, as opposed to desperately having to get them. But there's still a long way to go. We will certainly have to pull out, I think, some good results, because I think there are groups of teams below us that are very capable of winning their games.
Palace, though, are really in a hole, and Selhurst Park can be a bear pit. But for this fixture, they could really crank up the decibel level. Are your players ready for the intensity of playing at Palace this weekend?
Yes, the players are ready, and they have to be ready. But every game for us, particularly every game away from home, is a very difficult game, and our performances have been mixed. We've had some very good performances away from home this season, and some good results, and they're the ones that you want to tune into. You can't expect to go anywhere away from home and it to be a comfortable game. It will be a very good and big atmosphere, but I think what you have to be able to do, you have to be able to enjoy that, make that the challenge that you're going to be going somewhere where it's going to favour the home side as such, with how they are. But we have to look at the good results that we've had away from home.
What do you make of this derby, Chris? You've seen a couple of these games. Some people outside of the area might not understand it 50 miles apart, but what is it about this fixture for you?
Well, I think you have to be in and around it to understand it, and And you are right, it's not a classic type, derby, and it's one that I think certainly means more to both clubs than I think it means to people outside it. But in my time here, I've got to learn more about what it means, and certainly if you look at the what it means to our supporters, and how they ramp it up, and so it's a derby game, and it's our derby game, and of course it's Crystal Palace's derby game, and we need to make sure that we have a level of control in the game as you would do in any derby game.
What's the most intense and intimidating environment you ever set foot in as a player, would you say, before?
Well, of course, the large majority of my time was, of course, spent at Tottenham, and I think perhaps that's changed to a degree. Both clubs, Tottenham and Arsenal, would have changed stadium, a little bit of a different feel in the stadium. But for me, very much it would have been the Tottenham Arsenal derbies, and of course I was involved in a lot as a player, and of course a lot as a coach as well. So it would be that one, but there are also some very classic derbies: the Liverpool-Everton, of course, Man City, Manchester United, and of course the Manchester United-Liverpool game, which is a different type.
Will Sahar is Palace's star man. He showed that at Bournemouth again last weekend. How are you going to stop him? He's a brilliant player, isn't he?
He's a brilliant player, and has had a big effect on their season. But I think that would be the case at every club. Every club are going to have what you regard as their main players, or players that can influence. But I think he's really developed as a player. Over the last few seasons, had a period, of course, at United that possibly didn't work out. But I think he's very much on the top of his game now. But you can't be conscious of just one individual. I think they're a very good side. I think they've got some very good players, and on their day they are a very good side. So we're going to have to be mindful of them as a team, not just individuals. But I think you have to be conscious of a Sahar, particularly with the form that he's in.
And just finally, Chris, Brighton fans, some of them might be quite jumpy about this game, and certainly the 5 fixtures that follow it. I mean, what would you say to them looking ahead at this game and the run-in that follows, because it looks really tough?
It looks really tough, but it's a great challenge, and as a club and a group of supporters, this is what we've fought so hard for, to be in this division, and with this division, comes harder fixtures and more challenging fixtures. So our support have been outstanding all season, and we will need that. We will need that right through to these last 6 games, and to enjoy the bits that they can enjoy. We have to play 4 of the what we regard as the top 6, and that's what this club has fought so hard to do.
Hi Chris, are you approaching this as 6 remaining games in the Premier League, or as 2 winnable games and 4 matches where if you get anything out of them it would be a bonus?
Well, no, we're approaching this game as 1 game, and of course 6 games, and I don't think, whatever the circumstances, I don't think you can ever go into any game thinking you are not going to get something, because even the games that we have against the top 6, we've had some good performances, certainly a very good victory against Arsenal, and other clubs have done similar things, and there are always going to be days when things go for you and they don't go for the opposition. So I don't think you can write off any game, but I do think you also have to treat everyone as the most important one when it comes around.
The 2 games that aren't against the sides in the top 6 are both away though, Palace and Burnley, and there's no away win for Brighton in the league since the 4th of November. How more difficult does that make your task?
Well, it's a difficult task to start with. The simple fact that they are away from home, but are both of them games winnable? Of course they are, and that would be our approach going into every game. We have had a level of performance this season that has seen us where we are at this moment and the points tally that we have at this moment. What we now have to do is to make sure that we give everything in this group of games to enable us to get the points from wherever in these last 6 games that's going to make sure that we stay in this division.
And you mentioned Anthony Knockout back in the squad now. How much of a boost is that going into this tough run to have a player of this quality back?
A big boost for us because of the ability that he has, and I suppose also the fact that we are losing one player in Davy Proper, albeit different position, but I suppose the disappointment of losing one at least gives us some pleasure and gratification to be able to bring somebody of Anthony's ability back into the squad.
And we've just spoken to Matty Ryan as well, reflecting on his first year in English football. As his manager, the man who brought him to the club, how do you reflect on his first season here? Contender potentially for player of the season, would you say?
He's been excellent for us, and I think for also he's, I suppose, in terms of a goalkeeper, he's a young goalkeeper as well. So I think for a young goalkeeper to come into this level, new country, new experience, and overall I think to have the season that he's had, I think is excellent and outstanding. But he's also an individual that works very hard, very motivated, very concentrated, trains well every day, which gives him a real good opportunity to do well. And of course he's got that wonderful stage come the end of the season, of course, at the World Cup.
Just finally from me, a question on your the man in the opposing dugout on Saturday. I know you know Roy Hodgson well, working through the LMA and then other places. Obviously a big rivalry for Brighton against Palace, but I'm sure you have a respect for Roy Hodgson.
Yes, and I know Roy very well and have known him very well for many years, and an outstanding manager, and he's somebody that's I think at the tender age that he is still has the exact same enthusiasm that he had some 30-40 years before that as a manager, and he's somebody that's worked at his trade, managed at the very, very highest levels, and no surprise that I think when he went into Palace it was a difficult period, and I think he's had some difficult periods with injuries, particularly at the start. No surprise that he's come through that, and seems to have a team playing the exact same way that he wants them to play.
You share a drink with him full time?
Yes, certainly. Always, whatever the result, I shall see and look forward to seeing him afterwards.
Chris, just another one on Anthony. What sort of response have you seen from him? It must have been very frustrating to be out for such a long period of time for him.
Yes, frustrating for him, obviously frustrating for us, but he's trained, if anything, he's probably trained harder in this period of, I think it'll end up 5 weeks, I think, since the Everton game. I think, if anything, he's trained harder, and I think probably the reason why he's trained harder is because he knew he was going to miss games and a level of playing in games. So no, his attitudes in training has been, and around the place, has been excellent.
In terms of the atmosphere, is it the sort of game that he can prove himself? And I know we know he's a passionate, emotional person. Is it the sort of game you can throw him into, or is he just? Do you look at it as just he's a potential match winner, therefore I can unleash him, as it were?
I think I would look at Anthony the same way as I would look at a lot of other players. First and foremost, it's about picking a team to play in a game, and that's how I would take the match. But I would have no hesitation in playing Anthony in any game, and if anything, you've got somebody that is desperate to get back into playing, having an effect in whichever way that one is. So I would have no problems with that.
In general terms, how much is it about managing an occasion like this? I mean, last night we saw passion spill over a little bit in the Champions League right at the end there, and obviously stakes are very, very high indeed. But how much of as a player when you're out on the pitch is it important about managing the occasion?
I think for a game like this, that where the atmosphere in the stadium is going to be as it is. It's important that you have players that play with a level of control, because I think we all know, derby type games that can be a little bit more ferocious. The challenges can be a little bit fiercer and heavier. It's an emotion that's built up by how the crowd is and the meeting of two teams in a derby game, and I think you have to divorce yourself away from that a little bit and play in a controlled way, because it's the best way to, in any way that we are going to try and get a result. I think it's the best way.